rose above the watchtower, scattering rays of light down towards the golden city below. As the light glittered off the shining temples, the voices of the priests rose in greeting to the morning light. The bells, each one a representation of a different god, rang out, sending a glistening crescendo across the city. It seemed to hang in the air, echoing off the 5 mountains that surrounded the metropolis, before slowly fading away into a deafening silence. In its wake, the sound of the city coming to life seemed dull and faded. Nothing could compete with the morning chorus. Elaine, no kin, cursed the morning as she tried to close her eyes and go back to sleep. The tiny apartment seemed too warm, even in the mornings, but it was all that they were able to afford. She tossed and turned as she pulled the blanket back over her head, knowing that it was futile. It was already too late to go back to sleep. The sound of Daria getting up and coming into Elaine's room only reminded her that she had to get up herself. "Get up, you lazy thing," Daria called as she tugged at Elaine's blanket. "I don't think you dare be late again, do you?" "No," Elaine said. She'd been reprimanded twice for being late, even though it hadn't really been her fault. But no one was interested in excuses, not in the Golden City. There was no shortage of trained but untalented magicians to do the work their betters chose to ignore. "I don't want to be late at all." Daria snorted as Elaine released the blankets. She was already standing in front of the mirror, studying her reflection as she donned her enchanted earrings and necklace. Elaine felt a hot flash of envy. Her friend's red-headed looks brought no shortage of admirers, before swinging her legs off the bed and standing up. There was no time to waste admiring Daria or cursing her own mundane appearance. She walked out of the bedroom and into the bathroom, splashing cold water on her face to wash away the last traces of drowsiness. There were spells to wake oneself up without ill effects, but she'd never been able to master them. And besides, the voice of one of her tutors whispered in her ear, "Magic has a price." Elaine shrugged off the memory as she walked back and stood in front of the mirror, glaring at herself. She saw a mousy girl with light brown hair, dark eyes, and a slightly oversized nose, one large enough to suggest that one of her parents, whoever they'd been, had been an aristocrat. It had certainly been suggested by the other children at the orphanage and later by her classmates at the peerless school. They'd taunted her for being motherless since the day they'd realized that no one was interested in adopting her. In truth, Elaine wasn't entirely sure why she'd been accepted into the peerless school. Her magical talent was very limited, barely more than any hedge witch. A hedge witch would probably be more useful than her to anyone who needed genuine magic. She pulled off her nightdress and reached for her tunic and shirt. As a graduate of the peerless school, she was entitled to wear black, but she'd never felt the urge to show off her very limited talent. Instead, she wore subdued brown that matched her hair. It was strictly functional. She didn't have the money to waste on adorning herself. "I may be home late tonight," Daria said. Jade was talking about going to the arena and then to one of his favourite eateries, and after that, who knows? Elaine felt herself flush. An upbringing in the orphanage hadn't prepared her for the life of a free woman in the Golden City, although she didn't really want to go out dancing and enjoying herself with young men, or so she told herself. In truth, part of her would have loved to go out and just lose all of her inhibitions. She looked over at Daria, who was donning a red dress that showed off enough of her legs and chest to make Elaine blush. Her friends seemed to have a knack for meeting people and making friends that Elaine lacked. "Have fun," she said automatically. Daria didn't notice, but then she never did. She was a good friend, perhaps the best friend Elaine had, yet she never